Hi guys, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be learning how to make a pleated crop top with funnel sleeves. Stay tuned and enjoy the tutorial. So as usual, I like to drop my patterns on paper for better clarity. Okay, so we're gonna be drafting the upper part of the bodice now. My pattern paper is on fold and here are my sewing tools that I'll be needing. And I'm labeling my shoulder line already. So next, you want to measure your shoulder to chest line. And how do you get that distance? You divide your armhole circumference by 2. So for me, mine is 17. So shoulder to chest line for me will be 8.5. Yours could be 9, could be 7, could be 8, could be 9.5. It actually depends on your body size. So now I will be marking half of my across back on the shoulder and the chest line. So my across back measurement is 7. Half of that will give me, 14. Half of that will give me 7. Then on the chest line, I'm still going to mark quarter of my bust circumference plus 1 inch for side seam allowance. So I'll just join the shoulder measurement together on the shoulder and chest line. Then I'll be marking my neck width and neck depth. So I'll be doing 3.5 inch for neck width and 4 inches for neck depth. You could actually reduce or increase this depending on your body size. Okay. So if you're still struggling with drawing a perfect round neck, you could just draw a square like so, like I've done. And then with your French curve, you could now carve out the neckline like this. Okay. Now I'll be marking my shoulder slant, which is 1 inch from the shoulder line. I'll connect this to my neck like so. Next is to construct the armhole. I would measure from the slanted line to my chest line and find the midpoints. Okay, so when I mark the midpoints, I'll come in by 3/4 of an inch. With my French curve, I'm going to now draw out the armhole curve. So this is the curve of my armhole. Okay, now for this style, the yoke, which is the upper part of the bodice, does not start from the chest line. Okay, it starts about 2 inches or 1.5 inch. So from the chest line here, you want to measure 1.5 inch or 2 inches upwards. You mark it on both sides and draw another parallel line, another horizontal line parallel to the chest line. Yeah, so the length of the yoke is not constant. It actually depends on the length of your the chest, as the distance from the shoulder to the chest line. Okay, so I think mine is 7. Yeah. Okay. All right, so now the lower part, now we're going to be cutting it out later, but at least we have a visual look of what we are about to do. So I'll just cut this out like so. Okay, and then I'm gonna trim off this later, but we're gonna leave it for now. Let us draft the back pattern. Now for this top, because the neckline is not too wide, we're going to be adding zipper. So I have marked 1 inch for zipper allowance. Okay, on another paper or my remaining paper here. So I'll place the front like so after the zipper allowance and then use the front to cut out the back pattern. Meanwhile, the neckline for the back is going to be higher than the front, but we need the front pattern to cut out the back. So this is it, guys. This is it. Then the armhole for the back is, slightly outward than the front. So just add about 1/4 of an inch to that. Okay. And then for the back neck depth, I'm going to be doing 1 inch. The neck width is still the same thing, but the back is just 1 inch. That's the depth. Then I'll use my French curve to draw the curve of the neckline like so. So the shorter neckline is for the back. Okay, now I'm going to cut out Yep. So we have the front and the back pattern now. Okay. So like I said, we are going to be cutting out that lower part that we're not going to be needing. So to do that, I'm going to place the front and back together, okay, so that the yoke can be of the same length. I will cut out this unwanted part now, even though we are still going to make reference to it later, but I'll just cut it out for now. Okay, so I'll keep this aside. This is the part we're going to be using. Now I'll transfer that to my fabric. Okay, so I've done that. So this is my front. Front is always cut on fold. I have my fabric and lining. I have added my seam allowance to the neckline, the armhole, the shoulder slant, and of course the lower part of the bodice. Okay, then same thing for the back. My back, I have 2 pieces for the fabric, 2 pieces for the lining. I've added my seam allowances round, except for the zip allowance that we initially added to the pattern. Okay, so that's for the bodice. Now we're gonna come to the lower part of the blouse. Okay, so what you should do now is to determine the length of the blouse you're working with. Yours could be shorter or longer, it depends. So the first step is to measure the length of the yoke. So you measure the length on the pattern. Don't add the seam allowance to it. So this is about I think 7 thereabout. Okay, so on my folded fabric here you can see that it's folded. This is the edge of the fold here, right here. Now I'm going to measure out the length of the yoke. First of all, let me mark my seam allowance, which is 1/2 inch. Okay, so now I'll take my tape rule and measure out 7 inches from where the seam allowance, that line there. Okay, then I'll now measure my desired length of the top. Okay, I hope that's made sense. I hope so. Okay, so I have 1/2 inch seam allowance on the top part. Then after you measure the length of the top, you also want to add about 1 inch or 1.5 inch extra to that length. That extra addition will be for hemming allowance. So I'll just draw a line like this. Now for the wideness of the fabric or the width, what you want to do is you measure what you have on the yoke, which is supposed to be like your quarter of your bust circumference, even though we still have a little part on the lower part that we cut out. So whatever you have there, just multiply it by 2, okay, and measure on the fold like this. Okay, you can do ×3 if you want it to be more fuller, you understand? So assuming we had 9 here, what you measure here now will be 18, for instance, and it's on fold, so that's like 18 in 2 places. I don't know whether that's making sense. I guess so. Okay, so I'll just take my scissors and cut out. Meanwhile, this is going to be for just the front. Okay, so I'll still use this to cut for the back. Meanwhile, because I'm working with very limited fabric, I'm actually supposed to add extra 2 inches to this, the width of this, because of the zipper allowance. But taking 2 inches away from the original measurement doesn't really make much of a difference. So I just measure the same thing like so. So the lower part is going to be for the back, and I will just cut it out. Meanwhile, I have 2 yards of fabric in total. For that's 1 yard each for each of the designs. So that's 2 yards in total. Okay. Now for the parts I told us that we're going to be making reference to later. This is it here. Now we need to, the pleated part has to be able to fit into the armhole of the yoke. You understand? So I'm going to fold my fabric again. This is the opened part here. So the pattern, I will start with the fronts. That's the pattern that we cut out that I said we'll be using later. The lower part of the yoke. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So this is it. Now, I can use this now to cut out the remaining part of the armhole that will be joined to the bodice, or should I call it yoke. Okay, so I'll just use my scissors to trim this out now. So by the time we are joining the lower part back to the yoke, the armhole will fit in perfectly. Can you see? Did you see that? So I'll repeat the same process for the back. Meanwhile, we're going to be pleating that excess. Okay, all right. So for the sleeves, I have my basic bodice sleeve, basic sleeve pattern, I beg your pardon, and I've done a tutorial before now. The link is in the description box, okay, on how to draw the basic sleeve. The only difference is that this sleeve is shorter. That's the only difference. So this is about 6 inches plus seam allowance. Okay, so if you don't know how to have the basic sleeve, just check in the description box. The link to the tutorial is there. Then I have a rectangle cutout which will complete my remaining part of the sleeve. Okay, the length depends on you, and don't forget to add hemming allowance for the sleeve opening. Then for the wideness, you just do twice of what you have here. So if you have 7.5 here, the wideness on the rectangle should be about 15. That's about double of what you have. Meanwhile, don't forget that the sleeve is on fold. Don't forget, please. Okay, yeah. So far, so that I'm just doing like a recap of what I've just said. Now I'm gonna take my sleeve to the sewing machine. For the rectangular parts, I'll go ahead and do a rolled hem, 0.5 inch. I'll roll it twice on both rectangles for my sleeve. Then we'll also go ahead to join the bodice. So now I'm going to bring my front yoke and the back yoke together. I will join them at the shoulder. I'm trying to match the pieces together. No. Okay, yeah, that's it. And then this is the second back piece. So I'll go ahead and join it at the shoulder and do the same thing for my lining. Okay guys, we are gradually getting to the end of the tutorial. So I have done a roll them for the rectangles for the sleeve, and this is my upper part of the sleeve, which is my basic sleeve. So now I'm going to create a notch. Yeah, when I have to get my scissors, I'll create a notch the middle of my basic sleeve here and also the rectangle, so that you can place them and they will align. Okay, meanwhile we're going to be making pleats or gathers. So you place the two notch points together like this, and then you're going to make pleats like so. The essence of notching is so that the pleats or gathers will be evenly distributed. It won't be on one side of the sleeve. So like so, either you do pleats or gathers. That's for the sleeves. Okay, then for the bodice, I'll go ahead to join the lining and fabric together, you know, at the neckline. So I'll place right side facing right side, lining and fabric. I'll turn the neckline with 1/2 inch seam allowance round. Then for the lower part of my blouse, I've done a rolled hem, 1/2 inch twice. Now I'll be opening up the back, okay, because of the zipper allowance, just the back. Yeah. Okay guys, we're moving gradually. I've coupled the sleeves together, the basic sleeve and the lower part. That's formed the funnel sleeve or flutter sleeve, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, now I've turned the neckline of my blouse, fabric and lining together. You want to give it a very good press like so. Now we're going to be attaching the lower part now, starting with the front. So I will notch the front piece, fabric and lining together at the middle like this. I would also notch this lower part here at the middle. Okay, so like I said, the essence of notching the middle part is so that you can distribute the gathers or the pleats evenly. It's not concentrated on one part of the garment. So I'm going to make either gathers or pleats up till the point where the armhole fits in. Okay, can you see that part there? Same thing for this other side here. You also do pleats or gathers so you get to the point where the armhole fits here. Okay, then it's the same thing for the back, just that the back is divided into two places because of the zipper that will be used to like fasten it together. So let me go ahead and do that. This is coming out beautiful already. So I've coupled the bodies together. You can see all nice and clean. The armhole is looking perfect already. Now you're going to go ahead to attach the sleeves to the armhole, just the armhole. Okay, so you attach. Then before you do that, you want to just clean all the rough edges inside. For me, I use my bias tape to do like a binded finishing. That if you don't have an overlocker to lock the rough edges, okay, you have to make your work look neat as possible. Now I'll be attaching the sleeve to the armhole like I said initially, like so. Then after you've done that, you now join the side seam starting from the sleeve all the way down. Same thing on the other side. Okay guys, so almost done. This is like 95% ready already. So the remaining thing to do now is to fix the zipper. Now you want to make your zipper go beyond the yoke at least 3 or 4 inches after the yoke, okay, for easy wearing. So this is the top, looking all nice and clean. Okay, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, leave your comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.